Colleen O'Farrell, a member of the board at BCLA, a newbie like me. We are both in our rookie years and learning on the steep learning curve. And she is going to give a talk on her experience with lymphedema. So Colleen, over to you.
My name is Colleen O'Farrell. I am the membership coordinator at BCLA. I'm a mom, a wife, an artist, a farmer, and a florist, and I have lipedema. I wanted to share my patient story with you today for a few reasons. When I was diagnosed just a few years ago, I was devastated, and I felt very, very alone. And if you're suffering with this disease, I want you to know that you're not alone. I'm here, the members of the BCLA are here, and we want to support you, and we want to advocate for you for access to diagnosis, treatment, and support here in BC. For those of you who don't know what lipedema is, or as I have recently found out, the new name is Lido, right? Okay, I learned that about half an hour ago. It's been an educational day. It's quite simply put, a symmetrical accumulation of painful inflamed fat cells, usually in the lower extremities, but can affect the arms and, in my case, the trunk as well. It's resistant to diet and exercise. It typically only presents in the female population, of which up to 11% are affected. That's a really big number. It usually presents at puberty and is made worse at big hormonal changes like pregnancy and menopause. Little did I know it at the time, but my journey did begin at puberty. Picture this, if you will. A snowy February day in the early 90s, a school ski trip to Mount Washington on Vancouver Island. There was a 14-year-old girl, me, riding up a chairlift up the Green Run.
Can you get closer to the mic?
Absolutely, sorry. She was feeling a little bit vulnerable up there alone on the chairlift, gliding over top of the really cool kids. From below, there was this loud yell, "Hey, look, it's Thunder Thighs." Can you say pure mortification? There was nowhere to go. There was nowhere to hide. I sat there in humiliated silence as the chair slowly made its way up the hill. Let's be honest, that wasn't the first time, and it certainly wasn't the last time that I've been shamed for the way my body looks. I always knew my body was different than the norm, but I never knew why. Over the years, I had tried every diet known to woman. Low fat, Weight Watchers, Jenny Craig, Slim Fast, keto, low carb, vegan, the cabbage soup diet, South Beach, Dr. Bernstein. I've even tried Ozempic injections. I have tried every weight loss boot camp, course, exercise program, and CrossFit camp I could join. Nothing ever worked. I watched and helpless as my body grew, regardless of the actions I took to prevent it. And consequently, I developed a very unhealthy relationship with food, a really low self-esteem, and a journey into depression and anxiety. The emotional toll of this disease is real, and it's seldom discussed. But I'd like to pull the blanket back with you guys today and be real. Throughout my entire life, the story I've been told is eat less, move more, always diet and exercise. I wasn't doing enough. I wasn't trying hard enough. Ultimately, diet and exercise are very important. A healthy lifestyle is a good thing. It is important, even more so when you have a lymphatic disease. But when you become racked with stress over the calorie count of every morsel that you put into your mouth, and count every step you take, it takes a toll on you, only to learn that it was all in vain. I want to tell you a story. I was at a medical clinic getting a pap smear. That was it, just the annual checkup. While naked on the table, in the most vulnerable position a woman can be in, I had a locum doctor, completely unsolicited, start to lecture me about my weight. She didn't know me. She'd never met me before, nor did she ask me any questions about my lifestyle. She made a series of assumptions. She lectured me about how I had a responsibility to our healthcare system to look after myself. She literally called me grotesquely obese to my face while I was naked on the table. Yep, that really happened. Did she really think I was unaware of my size? The swelling after puberty only got worse, and the weight loss attempts continued to fail. Things only proceeded to get worse through the births of my two beautiful baby boys and several other sadly unviable pregnancies. My hormones were raging, and so was my lipedema, though at the time I still had no idea. Truthfully, I discovered I had lipedema quite by accident. When I was 47, I noticed my legs were swelling again. I had heard of this treatment called MLD, manual lymphatic drainage. I'm sure you're all very familiar. I was told it might help, and I was willing to give it a try, like a myriad of other modalities I've tried over the years. So I booked an appointment and gave it a try, and boy, am I glad that I did. That day changed my life. To make a long story short, the therapist told me she didn't feel I had lymphedema, but that I had something called lipedema. Now, Lido. She was clear, she was not diagnosing me, but she asked me to speak with my doctor. What was lipedema? I'd never heard of it until that day. Little did I know I'd been fighting it for over 30 years. My GP was very supportive, if uninformed, but willing to do the research. She confirmed my suspicions, but had no idea what to do for me. I cried. I cried for days, both from relief at finally having a name for this thing that I had, and from sorrow and rage and grief. Why me? We attempted conservative measures like compression, nutrition, and MLD. Lacking any other recourse, my GP sent me to a lifestyle clinic where they promptly offered me bariatric bypass surgery. Not what I was after. I was looking for a specialist to give me hope and a treatment plan. After actually looking at my lab reports, they acknowledged that yes, I had lipedema, no, bariatric bypass wouldn't work, and that I looked like an athlete on paper. Great heart rate, low heart rate, great nutrition. The way I look isn't reflected in the way I treat my body. Basically, I was back at square one. They were not able to help me. They couldn't fill out the out-of-country request for coverage as they were not lipedema specialists. Their hands were tied. Once I understood I had a treatable condition, I wasn't willing to wait anymore. Our current medical system is broken, and I wasn't willing to sacrifice my future health and well-being and mobility to wait and see if our system would ever get fixed. After over a year of getting nowhere in Canada, I reached out to a lipedema clinic in Germany, and I received my first official specialist diagnosis and a treatment plan. I had hope again. I booked my first surgery, and I had over 6 liters of diseased fat removed from the fronts of my thighs. After my first surgery, I was finally granted an appointment with the one doctor in BC that was currently diagnosing lipedema. I had hope again. Maybe I'd be able to get the paperwork filled out to get the out-of-country coverage. However, that hope was short-lived. I was told before he even looked at me that he did not support surgery for lipedema and that I should just accept my diagnosis and wear tight pants. That would help. He'd not be filling out any paperwork for me and went so far as to make my diagnosis letter completely unusable for any attempt to attain out-of-country coverage. I cried. Boy, did I cry. Yet again, I was on my own, fighting a disease with no access to care or support in BC or Canada. But I'm strong and I'm brave, and thankfully I have the means to figure this out on my own. 6 months later, I went back to Germany for my second procedure, and I had, again, over 6 liters of fat removed from the backs of my thighs and my buttocks through high volume, lymph-sparing liposuction. I'll be honest, this isn't for the faint of heart. It's hard. It's really hard to go through. It's not a cosmetic procedure. But in my case, I believe the pain has been worth it. I'm now 1 year out from surgery number 2, and the swelling is still going down. I'm headed back to Germany in May for surgery number 3, this time for my calves. I still have 1 more to go after that for my arms and my abdomen because of the advanced stage of my disease. Each surgery has set me back financially between $18,000 and $20,000. I look at it as an investment in my future. A future I want to spend with my children and my husband, and someday hopefully my grandchildren. I don't want knee replacements and hip replacements and to walk with a walker at age 65 like my mom. She was diagnosed at age 73 when I figured out what this was for me. Did I mention this runs in families? Anecdotally and via photographic evidence, my grandmother and my great-grandmother also had this. I don't want this struggle for my future granddaughters. They have a right to adequate diagnosis and treatment within Canada, which is reason number 2 that I'm talking to you today, the advocacy reason. They will have access to appropriate and timely health care for lipedema. Mark my words, I'm gonna see to it. And they'll have adequate access to mental health treatments so they can become strong, confident women. This isn't just a physical ailment. It takes its toll on the entire being. Now this brings me back to that mean bully on the ski hill. Well, you'll never guess what happened last year. Guess who walked into my flower shop? Yep, he's now a client of mine. And a nice guy. Coincidentally, we live in the same neighborhood. For me, this journey has been about forgiveness. I forgive him. He was just a kid on the ski hill that day. I'm sure he doesn't even remember it. But it sure stuck with me. I have chosen to forgive him and to forgive me. Yeah, me. For all the horrible ways I treated my body. The malnutrition, the starvation, the rations, extreme exercise, and most importantly, the negative self-talk that I'm still working to break myself of. It's a journey, right? It takes time to break a lifetime of learned behaviors and habits. This journey has many twists and turns. It's not been a straightforward road for me. Everyone needs to follow their own path, do your own research, educate yourself as to your best options. Yes, I've invested in my future because to me, my health and my mobility are priceless. I ask you this, what do you think you would be capable of if you forgave yourself for all the shame and regrets that you might have in your life? How confident and strong would you be? Don't give up hope. Your future health and emotional well-being are worth it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Colleen, for a very honest and forthright and powerful story. Thank you very much for sharing that.